Okay, Dylan, are we ready?
I guess, yep.
This is called Life Skills for Kids by Karen Harris. And we were just looking at all the table of contents. There's just so much detail in here for self-control and understanding yourself, learning effective skills. Learn from failure. Don't get upset. See the opportunities. Okay. There's so much. There's many chapters, but they go pretty quickly. So we figured we would go through life skills for kids. Okay, we'll do the introduction. There are two things that most kids and preteens wish they had: a driver's license and being old enough to do what they want so fewer people, parents excluded, can boss them around. If this sounds familiar, you're on a big boat floating in a big ocean with a lot of other people about your own age. Trust me, I know. Of course, you have other things on your mind, too, such as friends, video games, and movies. You may even start to think about romantic relationships. I had my first crush when I was 11. Or even your future education, Dylan, don't roll your eyes. And what you want to be when you grow up. I learned many of the lessons discussed here in school. I call them life hacks. Important life skills. Life skills prepare you for, well, the rest of your life. There are lessons my parents taught me, such as how to handle conflict, manage time, and prioritize responsibilities. There are also some practical day-to-day lessons, like how to run a dishwasher, do your laundry, and call 911 in the event of an emergency. If you're intrigued or you have questions about how to navigate life and its complexities, you're in the right place. Chapter 1. Understanding yourself. Self-control. Self-control is managing your behavior, especially how you react to people and situations around you. Here's an example. Say you're waiting in line to buy something at a store, and someone butts in line ahead of you. You have the right to tell them to go to the end of the line and wait like everyone else. Chances are good you'll get support from others waiting patiently in line with you. Politely pointing this out to the offender is the right thing to do. However, if you get angry and raise your voice while pointing pointedly to the end of the line and jabbing your finger in that direction, your self-control just climbed out the window. Even though it's tempting to overreact, if your polite effort to convince the offender to go to the end of the line doesn't work, then you should find a store employee or manager to handle the situation for you. That's an example of practicing good self-control. Self-control isn't always about emotions and feelings. It can also involve danger, peer pressure, or family values. For example, maybe your family taught you to share what you have with those who are less fortunate. If one of your friends forgot to pack their lunch, your first reaction might be, you're sure they won't do that again after fighting hunger pains all afternoon. Besides, you want to eat your entire lunch because you're starving, and it sure looks good. However, if you were taught good manners and you sympathize with your friend's plight, practicing good self-control in this case might be sharing half your lunch with your friend, so you each have something to eat to hold you over until you get your hands on a huge after-school snack. Another example is if your friends encourage you to do something dangerous that you know is not okay. By practicing self-control, instead, you think about the rules you've been taught and the potential consequences of your actions if you listen to your friends, not to mention possible injuries. I'll give you a few tips that make building self-control easier. Say no to temptation. If you're tempted to do something you know will get you in trouble, just say no. That's always better than getting in trouble with parents or teachers at school. Let's face it, temptation is tempting, but if you give yourself some time to think it over, you give yourself control a chance to save the day, or at least save yourself from a lecture from your parents. Practicing self-control instead of skipping school or not doing your homework, for example, goes a long way towards making you a smart kiddo and a wise adult in the making. Set and follow priorities. You've probably heard this a few times at home by now, and by now in school. Maybe there was a time you wanted to do something fun, but there was something less fun you were supposed to do. Perhaps babysitting your little brother or raking leaves in the yard. You need to get your priorities straight now before you make a mistake. You may not know how to set priorities if you're still in grade school. What is a priority anyway? Setting priorities can be hard at first, and you may need an adult to help you figure it out. So here's a quick down and dirty rule to help you figure it out. A priority is something you need to do to avoid getting in trouble for not doing it. Examples of priorities are doing your homework, cleaning the kitchen after dinner, studying for tomorrow's quiz, babysitting your little brother. Knowing what's most important and deserves your immediate time and energy right away is what prioritizing is all about. Forgive yourself. There will be days when things don't go well. Maybe you forgot to do something, you made a bad choice, or you let someone down. Although you may feel bad, it's okay to cut yourself some slack. If your intentions were good, forgive yourself and then do what you can to fix whatever happened. You're only human, and many valuable life lessons stem from mistakes. Learn and move on. Learning effective skills. Below, you'll find a list of skills you might need as a young person growing up fast. Good hygiene. Hygiene is keeping yourself neat and clean, something that everyone needs to do. This includes bathing, combing your hair, brushing your teeth, keeping your hands clean, and wearing clean clothes every day. These are skills you'll use your entire life, and you've likely been doing them for years, so keep up the good work. Organizational skills. Being organized means keeping your belongings in logical places where you can always find them, like clothes in a closet or a dresser. Keeping your room tidy allows you to easily find what you want and feel good about the space you live in. Maintaining organization is always smart, especially as life gets more complicated. And believe me, Dylan, it does get more complicated. It never gets easier, as it will as you grow. Money skills, very important. Even as a kid, it's important to start learning about money and how to be responsible with it. Whenever you receive some money for doing chores or on your birthday, get into the habit of saving some of it rather than spending it all. That's a simple habit that will have a lasting impact throughout your life. Having money in the bank is a great feeling. Trust me on that. There are many other skills to explore as we progress, but these are the basic ones everyone needs to know to get off to a good life start. And one thing I want to say about the money skills, I really wish they would teach a money skills class when kids are young, because we never had, when I was growing up, we never had like a money class. Simple things like how to balance your checkbook or how to figure out a budget. We didn't have that growing up, and that is something that is so important in life, and then as you get older, learning about investments. But this is something they should teach in school. I don't know why they don't.
Guys, you want to hear a joke? Another thing about life skills is not being obnoxious and not having obnoxious jokes.
Yeah.
Like, can I tell you a good joke?
Not being an annoyance.
Yeah. Can I tell you a good joke real quick?
Sure.
What does March mean? The month March.
I don't know.
March!
Oh
like
my.
You march.
Like you're
march
marching.
Forward.
He's marching, everyone. Okay, moving on. Chapter 2, Learn from Failure. Okay. He looked sad. He got a bad grade. Wouldn't it be great if nothing ever went wrong in life and everything was utopian or perfect? Sadly, life isn't typically like that. However, a very important thing to understand is that some of the best lessons people learn in life come from their failures. Failure lessons arrive in many forms, and everyone bumps into failure at least a few times growing up. That's one thing we all have in common. Again, trust me on that. A solid gold silver lining to failure is that it's one of the most powerful ways to learn, as most of us discover one way or another. And also, Dylan, when you learn from people that are more experienced in life and they've already had the failure, listen to their stories and learn from them, because sometimes you can avoid a mistake by learning from other people's stories. You don't have to repeat that mistake. You've avoided it because they've shared it with you. Most people find failure painful, daunting, difficult, and or dispiriting. Failure can make you question yourself, your abilities, and even your worth. This happens because we misunderstand it. We think of failure as something to be avoided at all costs. You might think you're the only one who fails, and everyone else slides into home plate with towering success every single time. You might think you should just give up. Big mistake, by the way. The best way to handle failure is by embracing it. Not intuitive, I know, but failure is inevitable. No one avoids it. Oh, you want to share your reading?
No. This is today's sponsor.
Oh.
If you don't mind.
Okay.
This is the reader tracker. It has a magnetized thing and a line so you can keep track of your line. Like, look, you can keep track of that. So I suggest you could use that.
Okay.
And it's magnified, so you don't even have to look. You don't even have to wear glasses sometimes.
I still do.
Well, you could, but really it's like glasses in there.
Thank you.
Kind of, but it's
Let's try it for one page.
Yes.
If you look at failure as a learning opportunity, you're automatically on the right track. Take the story of Thomas Edison, inventor of the light bulb. Edison was considered a failure. He was fired from 2 jobs for being non-productive. He was the failed inventor of the electric pen, tinfoil phonograph, a talking doll, an ore mill, a kinetoscope, early motion picture device, and of course the light bulb. Some say 10,000 failed attempts. Today, he is known as the genius who invented the light bulb none of us could get along without. Remember the next time you're kicking yourself for failing at something. Before Edison's success, there were many failed projects made by many people, and each one was necessary to finally bring electricity to every home. Imagine what life must have been like for early experimenters. Alessandro Volta and Michael, thank you for sharing that, Dylan.
Thank you.
Faraday, who tried and failed at various projects related to electricity, sometimes burning up their labs and having to start over, writing formulas and spending resources, only to discover an invention totally by accident. Instead of giving up, their toil, failure, and eventual luck ultimately led to the invention of electricity and changed the course of life on Earth. People often hide their failures as something shameful, preferring to discuss the things they're proud of. But don't forget Edison's many failed attempts to reach one singular success. The Oxford Dictionary defines failure as the negligence or omission of expected or required action. This basically means that failure is an unmet expectation or something that didn't happen the way you thought it would. That's not so awful, is it? Failure is just an opportunity to do something again, only better. Failure, while often uncomfortable, is easier to navigate the more life experience you have. The more things you try and fail at, the more you'll learn about yourself and how to rebound after the setback. Those lessons will come in handy the next time you face a new challenge. It also builds character because it's how you rebound. Do you rebound with sour grapes, or do you rebound with, okay, I'm determined?
Okay, I'm determined.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't always succeed in every single math test, right?
Yeah, math is not for everyone, but the point is you still have to try your best to learn.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is I don't succeed in everything I do. I mean, look, don't take this as an opportunity to make stuff up. You should try your best. Like, I try my best on everything. Sometimes I don't succeed. Sometimes when I think, man, I'm probably not going to succeed in this, when we get the test back, I find out I only got like 2 questions wrong. Now, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying,
you surprised yourself.
If you're determined, try and surprise yourself. Look, if you're determined, then those are the ones that are going places in life.
Yeah, but you know what else comes with determination and ambition is preparation. And you study, you prepared for it. So that goes hand in hand.
One thing, always study. You should always get to know, like, a part of history.
You should always study what you're going to be tested on.
Yeah, because if you know a lot of things, then that's how you're going to get into good jobs.
Yeah. And a lot of times people are scared by the word test. It creates a lot of anxiety, like exam or test, assessment. Those are scary words. So maybe what people could actually think of is rename it in your mind. Just say, this is just a little chance for me to show off what I know. Instead of thinking of it as a test, just think of it as a way to show off your knowledge.
Yes.
You have to kind of turn it around in your mind. People make failure worse than it needs to be because they worry what others will think, or they engage in negative self-talk, meaning they tell themselves bad things like they're no good, not smart enough, or unworthy. That kind of baloney makes you feel terrible. Instead, tell yourself things that you would say to a friend in the same situation. That was a great idea. I'm sure you'll do better next time. This brings us to the place of accepting our failures and using them to become better, stronger people. Failure is an uncomfortable place to be, and the thought of accepting it is hard for the mind to grasp. This is only natural. We tend to avoid things that don't feel good. Here are some important steps to override that basic urge to treat failure as the enemy. Don't get upset. Acknowledge failure. You can admit that your outcome is not the one you wanted. That puts you in the right frame of mind for the next step. It opens you to feel the pain you would have avoided if you ignored the outcome. Acknowledge your feelings. I think this step is the most difficult one. It requires you to examine and acknowledge the disappointment, pain, anger, confusion, or sadness. You need to ask questions like, what did I do wrong? Which could help you have a better outcome in the future. Talk to a friend, family member, or trusted adult. This can be an important part of learning from failure. If you keep those feelings inside, you may not examine everything that happened and learn from it. Often, talking through challenges with someone else can shed new light on the situation, which is necessary for you to learn and move forward successfully. See the opportunity in failure. Toddlers approach failure with curiosity. They fall and get back up, walking and bumping into things with unsteady gait, trying to pronounce words and getting them wrong, but squealing with glee when they get it right. If only we could all approach challenges and learning with such freedom and a complete lack of self-consciousness. Regaining enthusiasm for learning after a failure is a valuable skill. Lessons to learn from failure include failing forward. Failing is an opportunity to do something again and do it better. This is called failing forward. Every mistake is a forward opportunity to do it better when you do it again. Failure gives you a real opportunity to practice, prepare, and train. Failure is a learning opportunity and a necessary step towards success. Failure may reveal better opportunities. Netflix is a company that never intended to stream movies. Its original mission was accessible entertainment, and its first strategy was sending DVDs in the mail. As technology advanced, people wanted to either stream movies at home or use familiar brick and mortar movie rental stores. While solid, the plan didn't bring about the success Netflix imagined, which presented the opportunity to go back to the drawing board. Its failure and subsequent dream led the company to where it is today. Sometimes when you fail at something, it's beneficial to find different and better ways to do what you originally set out to do. Failure teaches growth. Failure is a test of character. It teaches your maturity. It tests your maturity and how you handle life's disappointments. That's what we were just talking about, Dylan. Taking failure in stride and finding healthy ways to cope with disappointment can make the difference between a well-adjusted future adult or an adult who sidesteps the effort. Failure can teach better communication. Express honest feelings about your failure. Letting yourself be vulnerable when talking to parents and friends is a sign that you're emotionally mature rather than emotionally vulnerable or weak. Although no one likes failure, over time it helps you build confidence, self-esteem, and the ability to successfully tackle whatever comes your way. And what did I say about positive self-talk, Dylan, that Papa used to teach me? You can do it. You have to tell yourself a little pep talk all the time. What can you do?
Do it.
You can do it. Okay, we'll do one more chapter. Chapter 3, Good Decision Making. Decision making is the act of making choices, hopefully wise ones. Knowing how to make good decisions is a valuable life skill that affects your family and friends and the world around you every day. People make decisions almost every moment of the day, including what to eat, what to wear, who to hang out with, and who to avoid. When you're very young, adults make all your decisions because they're older and wiser, and along the way, they learned from their own life experiences and from their parents before them. Some decisions are easy. They're either right or wrong based on what you were taught as a child. You know not to steal, not to cheat, not to hit people, and to be polite, honest, and kind. In those straightforward situations, correct decisions yield good results, while wrong decisions lead to not so good results. Wrong decisions can lead to dangerous situations, and right decisions to generally good outcomes. But other times, right and wrong aren't so obvious. Sometimes you have more than one option for how to handle a situation, not just choice 1 or choice 2. It may be impossible to know what the best choice is. This is where good decision making comes in. There are many ways to approach complicated decisions, and you can always request the help of a trusted friend or adult. Following are a few choices to make when you don't know what to do. Okay, make no choice. Simply choose not to decide. This allows someone else to make the decision. This is okay if the decision to be made isn't a major one. If your dad asks, "What do you want for dinner?" and you don't have a preference, you can say, "Anything is fine, you decide." Leaving decisions like this to others is often just fine. But when you have a bigger, more important decision to make, you may want to have an active say in the matter. Remember that every time you make a decision, it's easier to make the next one. You can still seek the opinion of people like your parents, teachers, siblings, or coaches. But once you've had time to think it over, you can make the decision on your own. Making choices without thinking. Not all decisions take a lot of time to make. Sometimes you won't have a preference and you let someone else make the decision, like what to have for dinner. Other times you know your answer right away and you don't need much time to think it through. This is often true for small things. Your brother may ask, "Do you want to wear a red shirt or a green shirt today?" And you immediately answer red. No one has to think twice about that one. It's a small decision. For more important decisions, it's best to take time to consider every option. Make sure you understand the situation, every possible outcome, and that everyone involved has had time to think it through. When faced with an important decision, take your time to think. Don't rush to a decision before you're ready. If you're used to making quick decisions without thinking, at least know when a big one comes along, you need to take time to consider it carefully. Thoughtful decision making. Thoughtful decision making means considering all sides of an issue at hand. You may want to consider the opinions of others you trust. They may have viewpoints you didn't think about. This is where seeking help from other knowledgeable people can help a lot. This is where Papa used to say, you're like a sponge. You ask people a lot of questions, you soak it in, but then you decide ultimately what decision you want to make, but you just absorb the information. Yeah. The following are steps to follow when considering a decision. Identify the issue. Make sure the issue is clearly understood before you make a decision. Gather relevant information. Do research if necessary, and talk to those who can offer good advice to learn more about the issue. Make a point of hearing how others involved feel and take their feelings into account. List possible solutions. Think carefully and don't rush to just finish and get it over with. When you have several possible solutions, choose the one that best suits your needs. Learning self-control. This is the process of keeping yourself in check, especially when it comes to considering others. Resist the urge to act without thinking carefully about a decision. There are many ways to practice self-control, and you probably do this all the time, whether you realize it or not. You practice self-control when you sit still in class. Use good table manners when eating and sit quietly in church. Simple, common examples of good self-control that lead to good decision-making are being quiet when others are speaking, using polite manners. Different cultures have different rules. Respect what you've been taught, as well as good manners and practices from other cultures. Examples of poor decision-making or lack of self-control, like interrupting others, taking things without permission, lack of tolerance or patience. In summary, carefully consider all factors and sides when you have a decision to make. Don't rush to decide, and take time to seek the advice of those you respect. If you take your time to discuss, think, and research until you are satisfied, you will likely make a wise, thoughtful decision. The next installment will begin with Chapter 4 for the next episode.